Battlefield 2042 is embracing the future of a lot of mechanics that have been introduced in the last, I'd say, probably 5 to 7 years. So let's jump in and talk about something that I think could be great. And I want to make the argument for that. And that is limited time only game modes. Welcome to Uplink. But before we do get into that, definitely make sure that you're subscribed because you won't want to miss our podcast called The Battlefield Show, uploaded every Friday. Myself and Sammy Boy talk about all things Battlefield 2042, and you won't want to miss all the episodes that we've been rocking and rolling as we get closer to Battlefield 2042's release. Limited time only game modes, something that was really popularized by Fortnite. Again, other games have done this before, but Fortnite really hammered down on those limited time only game modes. It's something that has kind of gone a little bit by the wayside, but it's still coming back and forth. Limited time only game modes are something that brings the community in for a special limited time event. So, how would that look like with a Battlefield game? There are so many different facets to this. We have all-out warfare, which includes conquest as well as breakthrough, and that's the core experience of Battlefield 2042. But we also have Hazard Zone, and we also have Portal. But where do limited time only game modes come into that? So this is something that we could possibly see in something like all-out warfare. I personally would love to see some Rush or some Gunmaster or all of these different smaller game modes or something completely unique. Like, could you imagine if we saw a limited time only game mode where the only playable character was something like Maria Falk, or you could only be limited to a certain type of character? I think that would be really cool. Like a whole squad made up, like 128 players all playing McKay. Now I know I just described the open beta, but could you imagine it in more of like an official term? It could be really cool to see how many grappling hook shots you can grab. Or you could have a limited time only game mode where it's only grapple hooks, like no weapons at all. Now that leads me into my second thing. Maybe this is something that we see in Portal. Maybe it is in the rotation of custom made game modes in Portal by DICE. I wonder if that fills the hole that limited time game modes would fill. I still think it has a place in All-Out Warfare, especially considering All-Out Warfare is only 2 game modes. I think that's something that they could definitely really hammer down on, or limited time only events with a certain map. I could see that being added as well. But let's just hypothetically say that Portal is its own thing, and it's going to fill its own purpose, which it is. It's going to bring forward, basically it's 4 games inside of Battlefield, which is crazy. Battlefield 2042, content as well as maps, vehicles, weapons, specialists, all that fun stuff. And then you've also got all of that same kind of stuff with Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, and 1942. Like, it's huge, but let's just put that aside. Portal is its own little world, but they really want to do a limited time only game mode. Something that I think would be so cool, and I would love to see it, are something like Apex does very consistently, which are those holiday matches. I'd love to see some holiday game modes. I'd love to see a snow edition of one of the maps, and you can only play that one in this run leading up to Christmas or Thanksgiving or insert whatever. I'd love to see, or maybe it's just Antarctica, I'd love to see a penguin kind of tear down. I'd love to see penguins everywhere. Maybe that's just the map, is instead of gigantic rocks they have penguins. I'd love to see stuff like that, and that's something that you wouldn't be able to see in Portal, are those map changes. And I think that's where it could really shine. You could have these custom game modes inside of a Battlefield wrapper, but instead of, like, you will have the custom game mode itself, but you'll also have those map changes. I'd love to see that. Could you imagine just a reskin of all of the tanks, but they look like penguins? That would be pretty sweet. Who wouldn't want to do that? Come on. Let's start a petition. Let's get this going. Penguins, tanks, reskin of the bullets to where they're penguins. Oh man. Just penguins everything. I'd love to see something like that. Well, I know it's not really in the time frame that Battlefield 2042 is, but maybe next year I'd love to see something like a Halloween match. Dark map, everything, tornadoes everywhere. Could you imagine? They just heighten the level and percentage of the tornadoes. Could you imagine 3 tornadoes on a single map? Like, that would be terrifying. I think it'd be super cool, and your whole goal is to avoid the tornadoes. That could be a really cool feature that would be only available in something like a Dice Made limited time only game mode. I'll have another video next week on some of the 5 kind of Portal game modes that I'd love to see, but this is just an idea in terms of limited time only game modes. This is something that I think would greatly benefit Battlefield, especially if after a few months there is a little bit of a need for more content. I think something along that, or even tie it with the Battle Pass. You do this limited time only game mode during this period, and you also get specific skins tied to the Battle Pass. That would be something very beneficial to Battlefield as a franchise because they have that income coming in. People are into the servers, so they don't have to fill it with AI bots. Like, it would just work out so perfectly for the game to have these limited time only game modes. Oh man, just thinking about it makes me so pumped. Now, I've mostly been talking about kind of Portal and All Out Warfare, but there's something that I just considered while I'm getting ready for this video, and it's something along Hazard Zone. Hazard Zone has a lot of depth there. I hope it does. I have concerns maybe that it does not have that enough depth for it, but let's just say it has a lot of depth. It could have even more depth. It could bring a lot more people to Hazard Zone if they adjust things in certain ways. Could you imagine? Just play around with me for a little bit. Join me on this imaginary journey that DICE makes limited time only game modes that don't get taken away, like Jump Pack Cargo. I'm not talking about that. Sorry. But let's just imagine for a second here. If you could have a limited time only game mode where you can only play a certain character. I know that's like, that would be fun. That would totally wreck the whole formula that Hazard Zone is all about, because it's all about designing that perfect team. But could you imagine, or if it's a completely random loadout, let's just say for a weekend you have a game mode where Hazard Zone, when you load in, you get a random specialist and you get a random loadout. That would greatly benefit maybe having some fun. Just a little bit of a time, you have this little bit of a tick there that you can say, hey, I want to play the limited time only game mode, and it's completely random. Or you have a melee only one, or they go even bonkers off the wall. It's a wave-based co-op mode where instead of fighting each other for the data drives, you have to fight the hordes of AI. That would be really fun, and something that may not take a whole lot of time away from other development or other content because you're reusing those maps. Or, like I said previously, holiday theme ones. I think holiday theme matches would be fantastic. I would love to see a dark mode map, night mode, everything, and you're fighting off the hordes of maybe reskinned, where everyone's zombies. You get a specific skin if you do play that limited time only game mode. That, I think, would be very impactful for the game. Could you imagine playing creepy Battlefield? I would love it. Battlefield zombies? Yes. I would totally go for that. Let me know down below what your thoughts are around limited time only game modes in Battlefield. I'd love to hear your ideas. Think outside the box. I'm thinking more of kind of things that they may do, but I'd love to hear your ideas around a Battlefield 2042 limited time only game mode. Am I on the right track? Is this something that you'd even want to see, or are you fine with the All Out Warfare, Battlefield Portal, and Hazard Zone experiences in the game? Let me know down below. Love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, definitely do subscribe. Hit the like button if you did enjoy it. If you didn't, the other button works as well. So, as always, I'll see you on the battlefield.